Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It is your 17th of July 2018 edition of Marvel Contest of Champions news, and I know that you like the new intro, so roll the new intro. Yes, indeed, it is Marvel Contest of Champions news. Now, a lot of things have happened mainly in the last few hours, so those are the things that we're going to talk about, as well as some other stuff to do with arena results, as well as the upcoming arenas. Yeah, it's been disappointing, and we'll kind of get into why the game was down, but thanks everyone who voted in the poll for the intro. Yes, it is the new intro that is going to stay. I may from time to time put in the old intro just for nostalgia purposes, but for the meantime, people enjoy the new intro, so that stays. But let's get into those news stories. So let's kick things off, and disaster has struck because the game went down. Another big blow for Kabam when it comes to rolling out a consistent game, though they aren't taking the full brunt of the blame on this. Many players are looking at their grinds, and they're very specific on times that they can get in, and at times when the game is down, and I think we're looking at about an hour's downtime. It can be incredibly frustrating, especially if you've got time sensitive things to do, or maybe you've got stuff in your life and you're like, well, I can only really play a certain time, so that downtime can be really detrimental to not being able to do stuff like arena, maybe even alliance quest, alliance wars, so it can be a little bit frustrating. And this is where I said that Kabam are not solely responsible for this, and this is really strange because this hasn't been the case, or I haven't found any details on forum posts, but I've commented about actual stuff that's going on. So they're being honest and saying that they've got issues with their partner companies in the shape or form of kind of Google Cloud kind of like services, which is disappointing from that point of view, but it is refreshing to a degree. And a lot of people may say, well, it's not refreshing because I want a consistent game, number one, and number two, I don't really care too much. But it is good to know that there is a definite kind of issue, and kind of we know where and what's going on. So Google Cloud Services are the things that's currently causing a problem. I don't know if you have to be definitely with them, or you can go with other cloud services. I don't know. I'm not kind of well out with that. But I think that may be a case of looking at the way you do things, improving procedures, and hopefully at a later date something can be sorted out so we don't see great server outages as we've seen today. Okay, let's stick with game consistency as we move on to our next story, all about the overheating. Now, for whatever reason, I've gone to the news and discussions kind of point, well, then maybe the news and announcement points to be exact, and I cannot find the post which I was reading up earlier about an update from Adora about the situation with overheating, but I found this article here, or this kind of response to something, which shows the details of where we're up to after the selection of feedback that we got from the beta test. Now, in short, the people that were doing the beta test were testing, obviously, a beta example of the game. This will largely be rolled out in further updates. Now, iOS has updated today to something. I don't know if it's going to sort out the problem. I know they were talking about a different type of iOS system that they were looking to test with, but this may be kind of good in good conjunction with one another, and maybe that's the reason that that post has been taken down. Either way, there looks like there has been sufficient feedback to then start working on something, so hopefully there is a fix to this issue pretty shortly. Final thing to say is it's at your own risk. I mean, I decided to kind of grind it extensively even when my device does kind of overheat and then goes down to the buffering and kind of restarts itself. That is my choice to take that risk. I do it when I do live streams. I do it because I want to interact with players and people. So that's, again, I shouldn't be doing it, but I am in any case. There's a lot of people that have said that Apple tech engineers have said don't use the device that you're using if you're finding it's overheating. So take it at your own risk when you're doing it. Maybe play another game for a little while. Let your alliance leaders that you'll know that you're going to be away for a little while whilst this device stuff is sorted out. And obviously when it breaks on Marvel Contest Champions news, I'll let you know that we're safe to be playing the game, the devices again, and playing the game effectively. Next up, it's death matches. Death matches have been a big issue for players since the last update, and maybe the update before. Kabam's answer to this is that as the game is changing with the meta, and as it's changing with the extent of players having, rank 5 stars, that we are now going to be experiencing a lot more of these opponents or difficult matches or death matches in future arena grinds. Even if you've got a streak in mind, chances are you're going to feature off against a death match and more than likely lose your streak. I myself am working on a few kind of theories of how to do it. currently working with something where you kind of like you build up your 5-star grind, and then it's the case you drop back and do a constant 450 kind of a 4-star 550 grind, and then you go back up to 5 stars again. I'm gonna like play about and kind of find out like a theory to it. Sometimes I've had luck with kind of changing the time frame when I grind, so I'll grind up to about 10 p.m. in the UK time, go to sleep, wake up in the morning, grind again, and I find it's kind of resets for like easy matches. Anyway, I'll figure out something and I'll create a streak if it works. Fingers crossed it does. But either way, death matches look like they're here to stay for a little bit of a longer time. Yeah, they were in the game before, but this time they're a little bit more frustrating, and it's more difficult to kind of get through them, especially when you've got those very early starting rank 1, rank 2, 5 stars. But the final thing to really say is that a lot of players are then looking at the computer side of things and the way the AI kind of grabs teams together. And instead of kind of going for, well, it could be a case that because there's certain players that kind of refarm the units back into the arena grind, and therefore they're doing the best team that they could possibly use, then therefore that team is going to appear a lot more frequently. I mean, I constantly go against a person by the name of Mary, and I literally say that each time I face off against them. I also against someone called Jedame. So that's like 2 common players that I constantly face off against. Now, my question I think is, are those intense arena grinders that constantly put units in? Because that may be the more common team that that particular player is using, and the computer decides, okay, so Jadam and Mary are grinding out extensively, so therefore I'm going to grab the most powerful team, or sorry, I'm going to grab their team that is grinding out the most units at the moment, the farming of the units, the farming of the arena points, and that may be what's happening there. Because hey, death matches have got to appear at some point. Next up, an update to Domino, this block break issue which is giving players a real headache when facing off against this champion. Currently wrecking the system with Alliance Wars, and if we go up against her, she's pretty darn painful. But there is a little bit of hope in sight. Caban Mike says that there has been a band-aid fix, and I'm not talking about band-aid as being, well, you know, that thing that appeared in the 1980s, but this plaster in the UK. So I've translated to the people in the UK and I think Europe. I don't know, you call it band-aid, we call it plaster. So they've plastered over the the bug, and yeah, to long story short, there looks to be a more permanent fix in the future, so hopefully next update that is going to come in. But at the moment you may find a little bit of frustrations with Domino with certain aspects of you're keeping blocked, you're trying to dash back out, and you're getting hit by a 2-hit medium. Can be very frustrating. They will look at it in the future, hopefully next update. Next up, we got the arenas, and you know, no surprise, Archangel went for a little bit kind of like higher than normal, not super high, but like higher than I think for a basic. I didn't cover the basic kind of stuff, and this kind of grind last week for the arena results, so apologies for that. 2.9 mil is what he went for. The midweek, people, I would probably say it'd be best to do a 3.1 to be safe. I'm not sure if people will kind of go, right, well, I want this champion. We've got the overheating issues. People aren't going for him so much. They are. They may be going a little bit more. Is it going to get sorted in time? Don't know. 3.1 to be safe. But realistically, I can see him falling about 2.7 to 2.8 mil. When we're talking about Yellow Jacket for the 4-star, 4-star going for, you know, 5.4 mil, which, you know, is low, but this is like featured, and people want as well. One thing they're going for are those PIM canisters. They can be quite helpful. So yeah, anything around about the same 5.5 mil to be safe, maybe about 5.6. And then finally we've got the 22 mil going for Yellow Jacket at a 5-star. Not a huge amount for the champion, but if people are looking for that sneaky little awakening, then people will go for that. And I'd probably predict anything in a region of 20 to 22 mil. Again, so yeah, pretty much stable scores. I don't really see them like going up dramatically, and I don't see them going down dramatically. And our final story is all about the next arena, and in particular, Void and Ghost. Ghost, I'm not quite sure if she's got the hype around her. And you know, I don't know if I'm going to be getting her as part of the content contributor program, but the main thing to really say is that I don't see her going like amazingly high. People were looking at how much they smashed her in the uncollected and going, well, she was a little bit more on the easier side. which players have really liked, by the way. But I don't know if she's one of those champions that people are going to scream and go, yeah, I really want to get Ghost. Yeah, she's a tech, and it's good to see another like a rare tech going in. But I don't think that's the more important one. I think the most important one will be Void this weekend. The grind will be, you know, good towards Mr. Void. Especially being a basic, I can see him going for anything in the region of 3 mil. And I would say about 3.5 mil to be safe. And the reason that I come to that conclusion is that he is still a decent champion. Players will either go for an awakening on this champion, or they'll go to get this champion because they think that, and you'll be right in saying that he is a good and decent champion for your roster. I'm sorry, just to say, Ghost at 5-star, maybe about 35 to 40 mil. But, you know, that's just an absolute push. The 4-star version, you know, I think that would go for anything in the region of 12 to 13 at the most. And the 3-star version, you know, most of it kind of levels out at about, you know, 1.3 mil now. I can't really remember, don't really cover the 3-star one, but those ones, yeah, 4 and 5 stars. So that's been Marvel Contest of Champions news. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel, hit like and all those kind of lovely things. Follow the channel, Facebook, on Twitter and Instagram as well, and make sure you hit the bell notification, because like when my videos ping up, it's then handy because then you get to see them, which is really cool. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you keep locked to the news for updates on stories, and as always, I shall catch you on the flip side. Bye bye for now.